Yes, now we are unmuted.
Yeah.
Checked this before, but now we are really unmuted. Good evening, everyone, and we are going to do it again. Welcome to our online Q&A for the share funding, and thank you all for coming tonight. Before we start, I would like to mention that this chat is going to be recorded. So yeah, we are going to record a session so you can always look afterwards. Tonight we have Chris Engelsman, which is the founder of European Sleeper, and Wouter and Benjamin from Sharefunding. Chris, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, we're on the train. We're in one of the jet compartments. My name is Chris Engelsman. I'm one of the co-founders of European Sleeper, together with Elke van Buren. Well, I'd love to tell you something about our project, also about the Sharefunding campaign.
Yeah, thank you. Wouter, Benjamin?
Yes. Are we good with the sound, Anu?
You're good with the sound. If the two of you could speak a bit louder and not as fast, that would be great. Now we are good to go. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Wouter. I'm together with Benjamin. We're the founders of Sharefunding. We help startup skills raising equity through Sharefunding. So that's another word for equity crowdfunding. We are in the middle of round 3 at this moment, nearly reaching 2 million. And today, a few of you guys have sent in questions, and we are going to try to answer those. Tim is in the lead today, so he will shove us the questions and hopefully get you a little bit more clarity about the funding campaign and where the train is heading.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you have sent a lot of questions to us. We have made a selection out of them. We're trying to cover all of the topics. But if you still have more questions, feel free to send them in the chat, and maybe we have time for it afterwards. We're going to start, because we only have 1 hour. The first question is for the share funders. Yeah. What are the benefits of share funding?
Yeah, first of all, good question. First, I think it's good to first explain what share funding is as a whole. So if you really look to it very black and white, it's basically digitalizing shares and then selling them to the community of the brand. European uses the platform iVesta for it. It's a software platform specialized in digitalizing shares, for Sharefunding specifically. And how it works in the Netherlands, but in most countries, is if you want to pass shares to one another, you need a notary to do that. But if you certificate those shares, it's possible to transfer shares without interaction of the notary. And you can do that via 2 legal structures. And European Sleeper specifically choose for the cooperative. So that means that European Sleeper is a cooperative company. And by now is funded by the community. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think European Sleeper has now more than 3,500 co-owners, which, that's the definition of a community-owned company. A few of those investors are also members of the cooperative, which means they have voting rights. But your question was, what are the benefits of share funding? So the benefits for the company, but maybe Chris can add, is that the company raises equity. And equity means that it is growth capital without the obligation to pay interest and to pay a loan back. So it means it's very healthy capital, which can be used immediately for growth. That's a very important one. And the second important one is to raise those funds through community. And that's really, really clear here that European has a lot of weight with their communities, and the community believes in what they do from the start. So I think it's important to note that this is already the 3rd share funding route. They have already raised 2 million in previous rounds, and now again nearly 2 million. And for the advantages of the investors, it's possible to invest in companies which normally are also only available for really professional investors, venture capital, private equity. So it's also a way of democratizing the way of funding. So different advantages on the company side, on the investor side.
We already talked something about the cooperative, and can you tell me something about what is the benefit of being part of the cooperative?
Yeah, definitely. So then we're moving a little bit more towards what the benefits of the investor then. It's two-sided. So of course you invest to gain returns at a certain moment. We always state it's also very important to invest because you believe in the company, you want to help a company to the next phase. And always with investing there comes risk, of course. But the returns are two-sided. First of all, there's potential for receiving dividends. So if the company is making good profits and the board of the company, together with their members, decides to depart a part of basically the profits to dividends, you as an investor receive those dividends. But it's important to know that it's on a long runway. You have to, the company has to develop for 3, 4, 5 years to reach break even, and then afterwards profit, of course. But the most important part from a financial perspective to invest is that you invest in a pretty early stage of European Sleeper, which means there's a lot of upwards potential. And with upwards potential, the share basically gets a higher value. And in that way, your portfolio is raising. And at a later moment, you have a possibility to sell those shares via the platform, for example, but also from exit opportunities. But that's what Benjamin going to discuss later today. So different ways there to earn returns for your investments.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you also tell something about legal ownership and economic ownership?
Yeah. That's a good question. It's very important to know that there are two different ways of owning a company. So it's on the economical side and on the juridical side. And within a cooperative, you are very flexible as an entrepreneur to create the company you would like it to be. And it's important to state that we work with investors with voting rights and with investors without voting rights. So specifically now, if you invest more than, out of my head, 190 certificates, which is in euros, a little bit around 24,000 euros, you receive voting rights. And with those voting rights, you can join the meeting of the board or the meeting of the shareholders and discuss the future plans of European Sleeper. So that's very cool and interesting for people who like to have more of an active role there. You're not obligated to join those meetings, but if you would like, then you can. And for people with investments lower than that, you become an economical owner. And then you have the rights to potential returns, to dividends, to value increase. But you do not have voting rights, and you're also not invited to the shareholder meeting, of course. So otherwise, we have to probably hire a stadium to play so 3,500 people discuss the future plans.
Okay, thank you very much. A question for you, Chris. Something totally different. The goal of the Sharefunding is lowered from 3 million to 2 million. How does lowering the funding goal impact the future prospects of Euronews?
Yes, the initial plan was to sell shares worth 3 million euro this year. We found that in the summer, actually, the Sharefunding campaign was slowing down, and we find it at the moment better to stop our campaign this year at 2 million euro. Two main reasons. One reason is that at some point it can't take too long. Also, because we would like to enable the selling of the shares on the platform. It's meant for that. And the other thing is that we as a team also want to focus after the Sharefunding round. We want to focus on the train operations and on the sales of the train. And the question is, what is the impact on our future plans? At the moment, it seems the impact is not so big. It's, of course, it does give us less development opportunities, but we really believe that if we would need more investments, we can could do a next round at a later stage.
Okay, thank you very much. You were talking about monetizing the funds. How do you monetize them?
So from a practical perspective, Chris already said it short. You have the availability to sell the shares through the iVestor platform again, and you sell those to other co-owners within European Sleeper. You could really compare that to stock exchange. but then on a far smaller concept. The economical workspace is a bulletin board, and it works like if you want to sell, you can put on an order on that board. Say, hey, I would like to sell 100 shares for this price, and you can sell those shares between a bandwidth of the last valuation of the company. Works a little bit different than a stock exchange. You still have the availability to sell, and that there is still liquidity in those shares. I already see it because while during around this marketplace is closed, but after it and before that it's open, I already seen a few transactions happening there. And fortunately for the company, the price on those marketplaces really close to the last valuation, so that's good to see. That's one way to monetize, and the other way to monetize is through potential exit opportunities. But that's maybe we'll explain a little bit more about that later.
Yes, and maybe you can
directly.
Nice.
Yes, the most concrete way of an exit opportunity is, like I already said, is the marketplace for iVestor. However, it might occur that there's not a buyer for your shares, so you have to lower the price and ask for a lower price than you would like to receive. So for the long-term investors, there are other exit opportunities, and basically there are three of these which are the most likely to occur. The first one is that the European sleeper is being bought by another company or merged with another company. So then you have like an M&A deal where a price is negotiated and another company will buy all of the shares of European sleeper, including the shares that the investors bought through iVestor. So that is the same price that the founders will receive for their shares. So basically the company is bought as a whole by another company or goes with another company together to make one big company. So that's something that might happen. Another thing that might occur is that a big institutional investor or private equity firm will acquire a majority stake in the company. So basically buy 80 or 90% of the company, and they have to buy out all the share funders in order to get this majority stake. So again, you have a deal between European Sleeper and the company for X percentage of the company, and the investors will be bought against that price. And the third reason that might occur to have an exit is when the majority shareholders that European Sleeper has now will buy back shares from the investor. Basically, when European Sleeper grows, the company pays out dividends, and the majority shareholders might decide to invest back in the company and have their own stake in the company grow, and therefore they will buy out other investors. However, this can only be done against the price which the share funders will agree upon. So basically, that will be a negotiation or a take it or leave it deal from the founders. So that are the three most likable scenarios that there is an exit. However, it's worth noting that European Sleeper is still in a very beginning phase, so it will take a couple of years because before those scenarios will become likable to occur.
Okay, thank you. About operations, something totally different. What are, Chris, the biggest challenges in planning or extending cross-border routes?
Yeah, there are many. Good question. We are now in one of the Couchette cars. We are renting this car from a company in Germany. It's actually a pretty nice Couchette car. We have several. We have 12 now. But the biggest challenge starting this whole project was to become proper sleeping cars, and it still is, because their availability is so low. All initiatives, all night train initiatives are having trouble with that at the moment. Even the larger state railways, they have the same problem expanding their networks. So that is simply the major challenge. Also because of some of the rolling stock is relatively old. So there's breakdowns now and again, and the comfort levels are fine, but they're not as we would like them to be. So this is the most troublesome point also for future routes. The other point that is complicated is the whole bureaucracy around the railway system in Europe. Everything is organized at a national level, and that's already bureaucratic. But even to have an international train running is very complicated because the rules are different in each country, and regulations are different, price levels are different, etc. And actually, the third major issue would be the high cost of train operations. And it also has to do with these regulations. And of course, you can't say there's a level playing field as the air transport is not paying taxes, hardly paying any taxes, and we're paying VAT and VAT for the travelers are paying VAT on their tickets, and we are paying VAT on energy, for instance, things like that. So these are
Quite
the main challenges.
Yeah, quite some challenges. And how do you intend to minimize those risks?
Yeah, we have a few ways. The coaches is the most difficult one again. So to obtain new cars, or modern cars, and this is actually the reason that we are at a very early stage of the company already preparing to buy our own coaches. We would like to refurbish second-hand seating coaches into proper modern sleeper coaches in all kinds of variations, and we're preparing already for that. So we are in discussions with about the engineering, about the company that will do the refurbishment, and also with potential investors. So it's quite early, but we strongly have the feeling that we have to do this in parallel. Although our first route has hardly started, we are preparing for that. It's crucial for the future of the company, and this requires also growth capital, obviously. I mean, not to buy these exact coaches, but to the preparations, the studies, etc. And the other thing is on the bureaucracy. Our strategy is actually to have our own team up and running with a lot of knowledge and detailed experiences in this whole train world. So we're really diving into this in detail because we really believe that, for instance, the timetable applications are very important for the product. So we don't leave it to others. We're doing this in detail ourselves, and we're trying to understand all the regulations per country. We're now we're planning a route to Barcelona, as you may know, and for that reason, we're talking to a French specialist to see if he can help us with applications in France. And the high cost, that's a lot of lobbying. So we're also at a high level lobbying. We're involved in the political discussions to see if any subsidies or any support is possible from European Union, etc.
Yeah, and can you tell us something more about the support of the European Union? How do they support you?
Yes, we were very happy early this year. We were rewarded as selected as one of the 10 pilot projects by the European Commission. Pilot projects to promote international train travel in Europe. So we're very proud actually to be one of these projects. And we are already making use of that by asking the European Commission to coordinate the projects. And this means that the infrastructures per country are asked to be in a working group, are asked to cooperate with each other. They're not used to that at all. So this is a really new approach. It seems very simple, but it's actually crucial to the success. One thing we now depart.
Yeah, we're departing.
Started riding.
Yes, maybe we did close the curtains because of the lights.
Now it's better.
Maybe better, and we may show you that this is the. I don't. Can you still see us, or is it
Yeah, you
against
can
the light?
You can still see us.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Chat says yes. Okay, good to go.
We just wanted to show you that we're on a riding train. This was from the yard in Belgium, and the train will the departure of the train from Brussels will be in about half an hour.
Cool. Somebody said all good, so we're all good.
We're having some.
Which might explain some noise.
You may hear some noises.
Trains, tracks, and everything. Can you tell us something more about plans of the future around Europe?
Yes, one, as I mentioned, we at the moment we are running, and we're actually very proud of that. That as a very young company, we are already running a night train in the heart of Europe between the large state-owned railway companies, and this is really a unique thing. As Wouter also mentioned, especially as a 100% community-owned railway company, a very small, nothing. In terms of how secure is the plan for our Barcelona project, nothing is certain in that way. But we're with the support of the European Commission. This is really, at least it will be making sure that the infrastructure managers will help. They will join the project. They will support it, and also ministries. So this really helps to secure the success of the project. And also, even in the coaches, in buying the coaches, the European Commission can help a lot. The European Commission will not buy the coaches for us. They will not subsidize the coaches, but they can help in the financing. I will just close the window because of the sound.
I think that's better. Yeah.
So the European Commission will help us, can help us in the financing. For instance, the European Investment Bank would provide a guarantee for the loan, things like that. Okay. Nothing is certain, but we are very confident that we can get this contract.
And if it's not happening, what are the backup plans?
Yes, we have. Barcelona is one of the most complicated routes mainly because of France. There's a lot of protectionism in France. It's a long route, so it's relatively costly, but we do think it would be the most successful one because of the demand. But there's other routes that are very in high demand as well and are much easier to realize. And this would be, for instance, Milan. We may start this with another partner in the near future. And there's a lot of initiatives from Scandinavia. There's a lot of sustainable consciousness in Scandinavia, so this is also a backup plan. And the other backup plan is to focus on the Prague route and daily train earlier than we think. And so there's enough opportunities, and this is mainly the reason, maybe because the demand for night train travel is so high.
So, yeah, some plans. There's a question from the chat as well. With trains seeming pretty fully booked on the most nights, is the company currently profitable? We're not yet at profitable operations. We see a high number of bookings, especially in the summer. A lot of trains were fully booked. And what we do, we optimize the cost as well. So we also run a shorter train if it's possible. So then still it can be fully booked or almost fully booked. So we're not yet there, but we do think this our startup losses, and we see a lot of opportunities and additional sales channels to scale up. Okay. Another question from the chat is, what's the percentage of shares that the founders currently have?
I think it's around 25
per person. Yeah.
No, it's lower at the moment. It's about 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Together or
yes,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, good to know, because otherwise 1/3 and 1/3.
That's right.
Okay. When can the first return on the investment can be expected? Maybe that's a question for you.
Well, if you sell your shares at the profit on the European investor marketplace, you can instantly get a profit. However, we expect that the company will be profitable from next year. However, once the European sleeper goes to Barcelona, the company will, of course, start making some losses again to invest in this track. However, once those two tracks are fully up and running, the company's profit enough to pay out dividends, we expect. So that's the first time that you will really receive income on your shares.
How long? Not a train. That's. How long do you expect these 2 millions will last to cover the costs?
That really depends on the development of the sales. We see good progress with additional sales that we're connecting at the moment. And the main very good development in that sense is the national railways of the Netherlands and Belgium. They are connecting. And well, from that point, we are planning to be profitable operations. And the 2 million should last for plenty of time. This is not entirely sure. It depends on the demand, on our ability to sell enough tickets. This is the main challenge at the moment.
Maybe it's something for the future, but when do you expect the connection Rotterdam and Stockholm vice versa will be on tracks?
Yeah, we don't have concrete plans for a route to Scandinavia. We do think connection between Brussels, Rotterdam, including Rotterdam and Amsterdam, to Copenhagen, Malmö, and maybe also Stockholm. We don't have the coaches available, and it's also another project that would require resources from our team, etc. So, but I've actually the last month there have been 3 people approaching us with the questions. Could you start and also people initiatives from Norway. Some people starting their own rail operating company in Norway want to cooperate with us. So there are definitely opportunities.
Okay. Another question. Green City Trip recently bought 67 carriages from the NS to strip and make night train carriages. Do you have similar plans with existing rolling stocks?
Yes, I do think it was a misunderstanding by some journalists, by the way. And the Green City Trip definitely has those plans, but they're not bought yet. They're still owned by the Netherlands Railways. That's what they say themselves as well. It's not a gossip or so from my side. And we have similar plans, and we may even cooperate with them because we don't. I mean, we're 2 initiatives. We are in a similar market in a way, but we're also complementary. So we may very well cooperate with them, especially in this way to obtain the coaches and to refurbish them. We have the same approach, and we have the same goals.
Okay. There's quite some plans. Maybe it's good to mention that all the information tonight is confidential. So of course it's within Q&A, and you can of course watch back, but keep it a little bit confidential. Thank you very much. We are out of questions. I'm looking at our technical person. We wanted to let you know that the Q&A will be made available as soon as possible. And if you have any other questions, I can think that something pops up in your mind tonight, you can still mail investors@europeansleeper.eu. And maybe it's nice to have a final word from you over here.
So thank you. We are almost we are approaching Brussels South Station now, so we will have about 200 travelers, I think, tonight. I'm not exactly sure, but boarding both in Brussels, in Antwerp, in Rotterdam, and in Amsterdam. They will be boarding our train. Very nice. Well, very nice that we could have this chat with you in the Q&A from the train. Sorry about these connection problems now and again, but thank you very much for joining us. And we hope you will join us as a shareholder.
Exactly.
It would be very welcome for us. One thing I wanted to mention is the shareholders. Many of our shareholders help us in a financial way by investing, but also in contributing their knowledge and expertise. So hope to see you soon.
Yes, and good to add to that is that the round will be open until the 9th of October. So if you want to invest, you have a little more than 2 weeks to make that happen. So really think about it, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, of course.
Thank you very much, and have a nice evening.
Thank you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Cheers.